All right, guys, welcome in. Week 1 is finally here. We got the core plays video here for you for the NFL DFS slate of week 1. So I just want to quickly break it down. The reason why we haven't done the salary video just yet is because we didn't have the full picture. Anyone that was making NFL DFS videos or podcasts before this is kind of just assuming stuff, okay? By doing it after preseason week 3, we kind of know what the situations are going to be like for the teams. And we also know what defenses are going to be like specifically, okay? People that give position, like matchups, strength of schedule stuff before preseason week 3, they're pretty much just trying to assume stuff without actually like looking at what it's going to be like. So because of that, we're able to draw data that they pretty much didn't have. So sure, you can look at that stuff from previous weeks that other people have posted, but just kind of take it with a grain of salt because now we had the most information available, and now we're not really going to have any biased opinions. So let's get into it. We're going to start off with the quarterback. We're going to give you a core play quarterback. We're going to running back, receiver, tight end, and then defense. We're going to have a core play for the quarterback, running back, and receiver. So let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start off here with the quarterback like I touched on. So the first one that I do like is going to be quarterback Jameis Winston. So the thing that I like the most about Jameis Winston is pretty much just this matchup. But we know when Jameis Winston was starting, he was pretty much dominant. He only had a couple of bad weeks. We saw him have a really good week against the San Francisco 49ers last year as well. So Jameis Winston averaged over 20 DK points per game, which at this price point, that's not too bad. But the thing I like most about him is that he's really easy to stack. We can stack him with Godwin. We can stack him with Evans. All right, moving on to the next quarterback here. I don't typically like to pay up for quarterback, but if I had to, another one would be Russell Wilson. I just really like this matchup, and also he's pretty easy to stack as well. Russell Wilson's one of those quarterbacks that's more just a cash play each and every week. He only had 3 weeks last week where he didn't have double-digit points, which really isn't too bad. I think we can project Wilson to have at least 15 DK points, which in cash contests is not going to be too bad. Let's move on to the next quarterback on the list here. I like to give you guys a bunch of different pricing options just in case your builds, come up at different prices range. You know who to put in. I do like Jimmy Garoppolo. I do think he's priced up a little bit too much, but I do think he's going to be lower owned than he should be just because that preseason week 2 production that he had. A lot of people got scared away from him, but this is a really nice matchup for him. And the thing that I like about Jimmy G is obviously the system that he is in. We saw Nick Mullins be highly successful in it, and we've also seen CJ Beathard be pretty darn good in it as well. Jimmy Garoppolo should at least get 14 DK points in this game, and it's a really easy stackable game. I think it'll be high scoring. I could easily see Jimmy G getting 20 DK points next week. All right, let's go a little bit lower here at the price range. I do think Carson Wentz is definitely priced a little bit too cheap. Really don't mind this matchup. Washington has not looked good at all, so you could definitely go out and play Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is a guy that I think will be an MVP candidate by the end of the year. Josh Allen is the quarterback play that I really like the most. So this is what I'm talking about. So we've seen the New York Jets just be horrible on defense this preseason. Now I'm sure they're not giving all their defensive looks and all that stuff, but they've just been bad, okay? And Josh Allen had a really good week against these guys last year. Josh Allen was having a really good year at the end of the year last year. He's having a pretty good preseason thus far. His price point's right. I really don't mind that play. He makes for kind of easier stack play as well. Kirk Cousins is a quarterback that was getting a lot of hype pretty much when the salaries came out, just because of the price point and just because of how easy he is to stack. And I totally get it. You can stack Thielen and Diggs with him and have a pretty nice solid base build. You can definitely go that route. I might just fade him though. Let's go a little bit lower here. Kyler Murray. I don't typically like to play rookie quarterbacks week 1. I typically like to stream defenses against rookie quarterbacks, but the Detroit Lions have kind of struggled on defense so far this year, especially against quarterbacks. So that is kind of a play I think we can roll with. Going a little bit lower, I think we can get away with Jacoby Brissett just because of the price point. 4.4K on DraftKings. We don't really need that much out of him to hit. If he gets 10 DK points, that's going to be good enough, especially in cash. Really don't mind starting your builds out with Jacoby Brissett in cash. Now, if you think he's going to go out and play horribly, just start the Chargers defense. But I really don't mind this play. He should, like I said, doesn't take that much for him to hit value. All right, let's move on to my quarterback core play. All right, sorry I touched on that. Josh Allen going to be my core quarterback The Jets have given up significantly more points to the quarterback this preseason than any other team. They're not doing well in defense. I'm giving him a projection of 20.1 DK points. Like I said, one of the reasons why this is going to be a core play for me is because of the price point. I think he's priced appropriately. You can easily stack him with Zay Jones and John Brown. All right, guys, now let's get into the running backs here. So I think we could start off with Saquon Barkley. A lot of my builds have actually ended up on Saquon Barkley, and that's just because there's a ton of value week one because of how early DraftKings came out with their salaries. So Saquon Barkley is really easy to pay up for. Really don't mind the matchup too much. You saw last year he typically averaged over 20 DK points per game, and I think we can kind of project him for that. So it'd be pretty nice to lock in 20 DK points from him. I do think Christian McCaffrey and Todd Gurley are priced kind of appropriately, but you can definitely play those two if you want to. Joe Mixon's priced a little bit too cheap, I think, given the matchup. I think that'll kind of be more of a running game. I could easily see him getting 15 DK points, which isn't great, but I think I'd rather go a little bit lower. I think someone like Dalvin Cook, if Kirk Cousins is going to be as high owned as it kind of seems like, Dalvin Cook might be a sneaky hedge play because obviously if Dalvin Cook does well, it's less likely that Kirk Cousins is going to have a good week. Both of them have pretty good matchups though. All right, let's go a little bit lower here in the quarterback range, or in the running back range. Chris Carson, I really like him. We saw it last year when he was finally healthy. The guy was pretty much a beast whenever he was healthy, just pure dominance. He displayed really good film. So it's kind of, it's a fine matchup. He should be able to go out and do well. Really like him in cash. Should be around a 13 DK points play for you with the upside to do more. Austin Eckler is a play that I really do like. I'm projecting him to have 7 points in the passing game, 4 receptions, 30 yards or so, and also kind of like 30 yards rushing, so 10 DK points. If he scores a touchdown, obviously that's going to be a really good week. Really don't mind him in cash. That should be a really strong play for us. Then also Devonta Freeman. So sure, the matchup isn't the greatest. But the Vikings do give up big plays. We know Devonta Freeman, he was a running back one before he had this injury spell. I don't think Ito Smith is going to get that involved, so I really don't mind Freeman as a play, especially at that price point. That's why I really do like. Mark Ingram's another play that I kind of just want to bring up for season-long DFS. I think, each week we can kind of just project him to get around, 70 yards total. And it's just going to be whether or not he scores a touchdown or scores 2 touchdowns. We know that he's going to have value each and every week, especially if it's at this price point. So he's just going to be a GPP play for us each and every week. It's just a matter of whether or not he falls into the end zone. Tevin Coleman's a play that I do like, but I think I'd just rather play Matt Breida. I really do like this game, so I will be having some of Coleman and some of Breida. Just, the price point's not too bad. He should see around, 50% of the snaps. Now, I know a lot of people are trying to draw conclusions from preseason week 3 between the snap split between Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida, but what people are failing to realize is that Matt Breida had a big play touchdown, like a 45-yard touchdown catch. So obviously he's going to have less snaps than Tevin Coleman. So I think it's going to be more of a 55-45 split, maybe 50-50 split. Those two are pretty much exactly the same running back, except for Matt Breida has been a little bit more banged up, and Tevin Coleman is, a little bit older. That's really the only difference. I think if Zeke misses, Tony Pollard's just going to be easy lock, especially at that price point. Justin Jackson, I don't mind him as a pivot play off of Austin Eckler. We know what Justin Jackson did down the stretch. He was pretty effective as a runner. And then there's going to be a lot of value plays that you can maybe think about playing, especially if they're going to be more third down backs, guys that can get done in the passing game, which we won't need too much out of them. If they score a touchdown, obviously they're going to hit value. Adrian Peterson's not one of those guys, but we don't really know what the playing time's going to look like for him. Darius Guice does seem to be the guy, but Adrian Peterson continues to look good. Wouldn't be surprised if those two kind of split carries for a little bit. Let's go a little bit lower here. So yeah, these next two guys are just going to be pass catchers. So TJ Yellen, I think he will be the third down back, and honestly, I kind of think he's their best running back right now on the roster. I don't see why they wouldn't play him, but like I said, if he's going to be the third down running back, they should be passing the ball quite a bit. I really don't mind that as kind of a sneaky stack option with Josh Allen. That is, if he makes the team. We got to wait and see because Buffalo Bills could do something weird there. Ty Montgomery does seem to be the second back behind Le'Veon Bell, and I do think he'll get a decent amount of snaps, maybe 25%, 30%. I do think Le'Veon Bell is obviously going to be the workhorse back, but maybe Ty Montgomery gets a couple of series where he catches some passes out of the backfield. Then the last one here is going to be a play that I really do like, a 3K option. He's been our preseason darling. We've been on him before anyone else has. Why? Because we've been on him pretty much the last 2 years. We've just been waiting for him to get the playing time. He got injured, the last 2 preseasons. And we knew when he ended up in Tampa, it was going to be good things. So Dare Ogunbowale, that's right. Let's pull him up here on the core play section. So the conclusion here with Dare Ogunbowale is that he had 10 snaps. I think Ronald Jones had 11 snaps, and Peyton Barber had 11 snaps in preseason week 3. We've been seeing it trending upwards with Dare Ogunbowale, the playing time, and the hype out of camp. Bruce Arians just keeps crediting Dare Ogunbowale on how good he has been, especially in the passing game. I think he will be their third down back. And I think he has some, chance to get some goal line work as well. At 3K, I really don't mind that. I'm giving him a projection of 8.2, which isn't that much. But at 3K, that's all we really need. So not going to be a bad play. I do think we could stack him with Winston and Goodwin. All right, get into the receivers here. So starting out, I think we could go with someone like Mike Evans. Especially, I've talked about this. A lot of these receivers I'm going to touch on are just going to be the receivers I think we can stack with the quarterbacks that we already mentioned. So Mike Evans is going to be one of them. Just a really nice matchup for him. Then obviously I think Chris Godwin. He's played a lot this preseason. Bruce Arians really likes him. He says he's not going to leave the field, and I believe him. All right. So I think he might be one of the more popular plays on this slate. I really wouldn't mind him in cash as well. I think he's going to be a safe play for us. I think the targets will be there. All right, let's go a little bit lower here. I don't want to go too low. Keenan Allen, we know he's kind of been a cash play. He really was dominant, though, without Melvin Gordon. They were really kind of forcing him the ball down the stretch there. He didn't really do that well in the playoffs, but, right before that, he was really doing well. Don't love that play, though. I think I'd rather just go with Adam Thielen. We obviously know he has a really good matchup. Last year, he just was a beast throughout the whole year. I think that'll continue. I'm not really too worried about this injury. He definitely seems like more of a cash play, whereas Diggs is going to be more of a GPP play. But like I said, you could easily throw those two in a stack with Kirk Cousins there. Diggs here, definitely more of the big play guy, I think. It's kind of self-explanatory there. Let's go a little bit lower here. Get into the softer pricing ranges. So Tyler Lockett, I just really like this price point. I think he's going to be a safe and easy play for us throughout the whole year pretty much, especially if he stays at this price point. I don't think that will stay the same, but for right now, we got to jump on it. Him and Russell make for a pretty decent stack, especially given that matchup. I really don't mind it. Going a little bit lower here, Jarvis Landry. Don't love it, but it's Jarvis Landry. He's one of the best receivers in the league. People kind of discredit him because he's been a volume receiver. There's a reason why he's been getting volume throughout his whole career. It's because he's a beast. He's one of the better receivers in the league, has some of the best hands in the league, and he knows how to get open. If anything, OBJ being on the team could help him be open more. Speaking of more, we got DJ Moore here. So DJ Moore, a lot like Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore started to see a lot of work at the end of his rookie season. You see the targets there right at the end of the season. They went up. He was pretty much averaging 8 targets per game at the end of the year. I think that's going to continue to stay the same. I think the Panthers are going to do a lot of short, quick passes to someone like Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. I think that's going to make them, kind of nice plays each and every week. Dante Pettis, we kind of got to see what's going on with that groin injury, but if he's going to be healthy and 100%, I think this is going to be a really sneaky GPP stack play. Definitely a play that you could run it back with if you're doing the Tampa Bay stack. But obviously, if Pettis is going to be out, then I think we got to roll with someone like Marquise Goodwin. D.D. Westbrook is going to be a really nice cash play and GPP play. The thing that sucked about D.D. Westbrook last year is Blake Bortles just really sucked at the passes or the routes that D.D. Westbrook was running. He just wasn't good at those, those routes. He couldn't hit those routes. Nick Foles is a lot better at that. I think D.D. Westbrook is going to be Nick Foles' favorite target on the year, and I've been picking him up in a lot of my season-long leagues as well. But at that price point, I'll definitely jump on D.D. Westbrook. Let's go a little bit lower here. This is where Marquise Goodwin is at. Like I said, if Pettis is out, we got to roll with Goodwin there. We know he has that big play upside. Even if Pettis plays, still not a bad run it back option to Mike Evans, Winston, Godwin stacks. Zay Jones here. This price point is what I like. And also, Zay Jones has led the starting unit in targets so far this season, which really surprised me. He actually has looked pretty good. I know we've been seeing mixed reports, but from what we've seen on the field, it hasn't been too bad. Really cheap stack there if you want to do Josh Allen and Zay Jones. So Terry McLaurin here, I think that the Redskins have been trying to hide him so that teams could not get film on him. He could be a sneaky value play. Obviously, you don't want to go too crazy with it. Maybe just a 5% value play there. Let's get into the core receiver play for me. Sorry I touched on it. It's going to be Chris Godwin. I think he's going to be a popular play this week, given the matchup, given the hype that he's gotten out of camp, given the targets that he's gotten throughout the preseason. But, really all that he needs to do is get the receptions that he's been doing and then score a touchdown. Giving him a projection of 15.7 points. And I think he's easily stackable with Jameis Winston. You can even throw Dare Ogunbowale in there in a stack as well. All right, let's get into the tight ends here. So I think if I'm going to pay up for a tight end, it would be George Kittle. And like I said, this week has been pretty easy to have salary left over. So I think I might just have to pay up for George Kittle. Now, there are other plays we can go with as well. But George Kittle, if you want to stack that game like I do, not going to be a bad play for you. Hunter Henry, I do think he'll see some more targets. I don't think he'll be that high owned because of the price point and because it's his first game back from, a full season off. OJ Howard, I don't mind as a play, but those two guys are just a little bit too priced up for me. There's some other plays that we could go with a little bit lower on in the price range, but once again, those two players, Kittle, Howard, going to be good options if you want to stack that game. Eric Ebron's a play that I like. I know with Luck gone, people might not want to play him, could lower its ownership a little bit more. He's a big red zone guy. You could easily stack Eric Ebron with Jacoby Brissett and really save on salary. Even if they don't hit, it won't hurt you too much. Delaney Walker, we know he's been Marcus Mariota's security blanket throughout his whole career. Maybe that's why Mariota has looked terrible last year because Delaney Walker was injured. I think he could easily just be a safe ATK play for us in week 1. Going a little bit lower here, I do like Dallas Goedert as a tight end play. And I want to explain this. So I think Goddard is going to have, around 5 weeks where he just goes off and puts up like 18 DK points or more. It's just going to be figuring out which those weeks are. And at this price point, I'm definitely willing to take that risk. He does have that questionable tag right now too. That could lower his ownership, which is always nice. I think we're going to see just a lot of, 2 tight end sets. And I do want to mention Dallas Goedert. It's pretty much going undrafted in season-long leagues as well. So if you still have your draft up, or if you already had your draft, draft him or check the waiver wire. He might still be available. Honestly, I know tight end handcuffs aren't a thing, but might not be a bad thought. All right, let's finish it off here with defenses. It's pretty straightforward. So we got the Ravens defense here. They have a pretty easy matchup here. And honestly, you could easily play Mark Ingram with the Ravens defense. That just makes a lot of sense. So that's going to be kind of, I guess you want to call it a stack. I'm going to be doing that quite a bit. But the other one I want to touch on is going to be the Cleveland Browns. So the Tennessee Titans have just been poor on offense. A lot of sacks, a lot of turnovers. Makes me really like the Cleveland Browns, who have been having a lot of sacks and getting some turnovers as well in season-long leagues as well. Really don't mind you going out and drafting them a little bit early. They have the Titans week 1 and then the Jets the week after that. The only other teams I could think about are going to be the Chargers and the Detroit Lions. The Chargers, I kind of just, they're a good defense, priced a little bit low. Not the worst matchup, and especially if you think Brissett is going to struggle a little bit. And then, obviously, the Lions, just because they're going to be going against a rookie quarterback in his first start, they could drop some pressure and try to contain him quite a bit. And, Cardinals just kind of have a lot of pass catchers there. They don't really know who's going to be the receiver number 1, receiver 2, receiver 3, so not a fluent situation there for Kyler Murray in his first start. All right, so that's all I have for you guys. I do have the NFL DFS membership available for you guys, $10 a month. It's a really cheap cost. Going to have that throughout the whole season, so make sure to check that out. Have our core plays, our lineups, our player pool, just kind of overall thought process. So check that out. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe. And as always, let's keep cashing. Thanks for watching.